Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Grace of a Military Child in Life podcast. Military families are not like your traditional family. They are strong, brave, resilient, and some of the most incredible people I know. My name is Gracie, a U.S. Army brat, and I am your host. I am honored to be able to give military family members like myself a place for them to share their stories and experiences in the military life. Stay tuned for this week's guest. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of Grace of Military Child in Life. Today, I'm here with Lauren, who is an Air Force spouse. So, Lauren, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, can you start by telling us what it's like being a military spouse?
Definitely. So, I feel like I'm still early on-ish in my military spouse journey. My husband and I started dating when he was at the Air Force Academy. And while he was at the Air Force Academy, we decided to get pregnant. and then once he graduated, we had our son a couple months after that. And he's been active about 3.5 years now. And in that time frame, my husband he's actually gone through pilot training. So in that time frame, we've moved quite a bit just from waiting for pilot training, then starting the first process of IFT, and then moving back to where we were, and then moved for UPT, and then moved for a TDY, and then moved back to where we were, and then now we're at our first assignment 2 years later after the completion of pilot training. Yeah. So a lot of moving around in the first 3.5 years. And also after having our first baby, 6 months later, we got pregnant again. So it's been crazy ride so far, but it's been so fun and actually starting to see my husband really start his career as a pilot, which has been super cool to after going through such a stressful training environment, to just it be chill and him actually enjoy every single day that he goes to work. So it's been super fun at that point.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I mean, there's so many factors, that you mentioned, the moving around, having kids, that it just makes it so stressful when you're in those training environments and you don't necessarily have much stability with that. And you're kind of just jumping into the life. And then, it feels so much more, peaceful once you're at your first unit and you're able to kind of take a breath and, for the whole family, it makes it so much easier.
Yes, definitely. And how you said, for the whole family, we didn't even realize our first son has had a lot of sleeping issues. Yeah. And we didn't think to take a step back and look at the fact that we've moved quite a bit. And we feel like that has affected him because he's in a new place, doesn't feel super secure in that environment. So he's just always wanting to be with mommy and daddy. And so we finally it's so nice just to be here. So now it's his own room, his own place, and he's starting to feel comfortable. So it's been super nice to have that stability for our kiddos as well.
Yeah, because I think it can get lost in translation sometimes how much it impacts the young, infants, because it's just, you don't necessarily think of that at such a young age when they can't even really talk, how much they can actually pick up on. And then, I mean, moving around, not necessarily having that stable place to sleep or, time zone changes or anything. There's so much that, even when I was a kid, it was okay, I was almost to the point of nonverbal as an infant when my dad wasn't around, because I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't do anything. And then, my speech was delayed later in life because of that. And I was just such a daddy's girl that, going through that. And I was a deployment baby. My sister was born 15 months later and she was a deployment baby too, two separate deployments. And so it's just stressful even on children that, can't even comprehend the world.
Right, exactly. And we're actually about to do our first deployment. And now my oldest is like understands kind of like time, but not really. He understands that daddy is gone for a certain amount of time. And like
Yeah.
we've done a couple TDYs recently, trainings where he's been gone for like a week or two. And that was like the first time that he was like actually really affected and just starting to. My oldest has always been super emotional already, but now that daddy was gone on a training, like it definitely, you can see a huge change in his behavior, just super frustrated, not sleeping well. Like when daddy came home, he was mad. When we were FaceTiming him, he would get super mad and start taking it out on me or his brother.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm a little nervous with this deployment coming up. This will be our first deployment. We've been trying to explain to him, like, daddy's going to be away for a certain amount of time. So we got like one of those daddy dolls for both of our boys, and they seem to be helping them so far. You know, he hasn't left yet, but they cuddle with it every single night, and they're like, "Where's my daddy doll?" So I highly recommend those for anyone who has kiddos. They're so cute.
Yeah. And that's like, you just have to make it fun. It's the chaos of this lifestyle. And it's just finding those little ways that it's like, okay, this can somewhat make it fun. And so, we had daddy dolls were not around when I was a child going through this. But we went to Build-A-Bear and we got to pick out whatever bear we wanted. And me and my sister picked out a camouflage bear. And then we dressed it in the little ACUs that they had. And then my dad put a voice box in it of saying, like, I love you, Gracie. So when he deployed every single night, I would press that button before I go to bed. And then I'd be able to hear his voice. And but then, the countdowns and, like the chain countdowns, I literally have one for basic training because I'm so excited. But those are huge. And then we did little Hershey Kisses. And so we got a huge jar that was sat on our dining room table. And it was supposed to be a 400-day deployment. So we filled it with 400 Hershey Kisses for me and my sister. And then every night we had a little kiss from dad.
That is so sweet. That's such a good idea. I think I'm going to steal that. So thank you for that.
It's such a fun idea. And I mean, there's so many more that, with the, I don't want to say necessarily creativity that's coming out, but, so many ideas are just getting circulated around. So many spouses. Yeah, it's just.
I love that everyone's just sharing that and like how they do. What are those called? Like the deployment baskets or the gift baskets or whatever. Yeah, I already have things in mind for that, and I know the boys would love helping with that. So I'm excited in that aspect. But obviously, I actually haven't been nervous until this week because it's coming up. And I've been pretty good because I feel like with the pilot training environment, my husband was gone for like all day, like 12-hour days. And I was like raising a baby, and then we had another baby. I was doing it all by myself. And then with family being far, obviously with military, like you don't have that help. So I feel like I'm used to kind of be just doing it on my own, solo parenting type of deal. But now this week we're getting closer, I'm like, I'm just gonna miss him, and just like knowing how the boys are gonna feel, my heart's gonna hurt for them. So
yeah, and that's the hardest part. Like you're used to it, like you said. You've had those long days and trainings and TUIs and all of that, but then this is like the step up, and it's just it makes it so much harder some days to fully like comprehend it because of everything that you've just gone through with the trainings.
Right. I feel like the longest we've done, like with obviously not seeing him at all, like during one training, we got to see him on the weekend. But like the longest has been 2 weeks of not seeing him. And I'm like, once we get to that 2-week mark, I feel like I'm just going to go, ah!
Well, and there's going to be moments where you just want to scream and like, the kids are going crazy and you're going crazy and you can't like focus on anything. But then it's like, okay, like we're getting there. Like the days are counting down and everything.
Yeah.
So
you just have to I don't even know. You just have to take the deep breath. Like it sounds so like basic, like take a deep breath, blah blah blah. Like you really
Yeah.
have to slow down as a mom. You have to slow down and be intentional, not only with yourself but with your kids, because I feel like they start to get in like these tantrums constantly, and then you're like about to freak out, and
Yeah.
you just really have to, like, you don't want to be louder than they are. You really have to get down physically on their level and be like, we're going through this together. I'm just as probably frustrated and upset as you are, and we're gonna get through this, and just really slowly talk them through. And I know that's not like doesn't really always work with toddlers, but once you do it like enough, they start to understand.
Repetition is
um,
key.
Yeah, and also I was gonna say that earlier. Like I feel like routines and structure
Yeah.
when your spouse is gone is so huge for them as well. Not only with sleep, but with like going out and playing. Like I love to run. I just got like a $50 jogging stroller off of Facebook Marketplace, and I just go
Oh,
running with them. And
nice.
it's so good for me, and it's so good for them. So highly
Yeah.
recommend doing that for all the mamas listening.
Yeah. And like the routine is so important for them, but then, it's going to be so important for you too, because, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to start to look forward to, going on the runs or even putting them to bed at night and having,
Right.
a few
Yeah.
seconds to yourself.
Yes.
And so, things like that. And it's so important
Mm-hmm.
to find that routine. Like I love that you said that, because that's, what we thrived on as a family, is being able to, okay,
Right.
we're getting up, we're going to school, we're,
Mm-hmm.
coming home, we're having a snack and doing homework and, starting our nighttime routine then. So it's like really
Right.
important to have that routine for anyone in the household, because then it makes the days go by faster, because it's kind of like a checkbox. Then you're like, okay, this
Right.
is done. This
Exactly.
is done.
Right. And then like you get to nap time and it's like, oh, already half the day is gone. Like that's so
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. And then, you wake up and you're like, this is going to be such a horrible day. Like you just, get so emotional so early on. And then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
well, we're already here. Like we're almost done with today. And you're going to have
Yeah.
those hard days. But once you get
Right.
through, you know, if you get through a hard day, like, I always say that I have quite a few good days, and this is like life in general, quite a few good days. And then there's going to be one really hard day. And then
Hmm.
there's going to be quite a few good days after that.
Yeah, that's inevitable. There's gonna be hard days. Like we're human. And when your
Yeah.
other half of the team, your best friend is gone, it's definitely those are gonna happen. Um, Something else I actually just thought of that I feel has worked really well for me is I feel like it's another like basic cliche thing, but it's so helpful is like setting yourself up like the night before.
Yeah.
I don't know whether like I like working out, like having your workout clothes set out or just like excuse me. um like cleaning the kitchen before you completely go to bed. Like it's so nice waking up with a nice clean kitchen or having like fruit preps or anything like that.
Yeah. I think that is so important. Like, I've just been getting into the whole like going on runs or walks in the morning. And so like
Mm-hmm.
every night I have my stuff set out. So then when I get up, it's kind of like you don't have a choice at that point. Like
Right.
everything's already there.
Yeah.
You just gotta go.
Excuse me. Sorry.
You're good.
Cut that part out. My coughing. I hate that. Like you get like a little tickle in your throat and it like just
Yes.
won't go away, and you're like trying to make it go away. And you're like,
And then it just
I
stays
can't
there.
yeah. Yeah, that's so good. Just prepping the night before. And how you said it's like you have to. You see your stuff there. You're like, okay, like you're ready to go.
Yeah. And it's a gentle reminder, like, from yourself to yourself of, because even this morning I got up and I was like, okay, I'm just so exhausted. I do not want to go run. Like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to roll back over and go to bed again. But then it's
Yeah.
like, okay, no, like, you know, you've got to do it. Like, there's no other option. Like, and you're going to feel so much better, after. And it doesn't necessarily even just have to be exercise. Like, if you have a specific hobby, like reading or something, have the book set
Right.
out.
Right.
There's little reminders that you can have. And even if you can't have a physical reminder, like put a sticky note somewhere,
Mhm.
and like say, hey, this is your reminder to do this.
Right. I was actually gonna say, like, I know it's easier said than done as like a human and as a mom, but like something I found is when I'm able to wake up like an hour or so before my boys,
Yeah.
like it sets my whole day up. So I can journal, I can pray, I can read, I can stretch, start exercising, whatever it is. Like it literally changes my whole entire day because I am not only like pouring into myself, but once my boys are ready, like I'm already up and ready to go. My mind's ready to go, my body's ready to go. Whereas if I'm still sleeping when they're waking up, I'm like, oh, like groggy, and just like it's a slow start. But I
Yeah.
highly suggest like trying to wake up earlier than your kiddos whenever you can.
Yeah. And I think the big thing too that you just said is like having your mind ready because you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what the day is going to bring. It could be a really
Right.
good day, it could be a really hard day. And
Right.
having, that time to yourself in the morning to do whatever you need to do in the morning is so key to be able to, okay, time to like finally start getting into the actual things of the day. The kids are getting up, you got to go to work or whatever the case may
Mm-hmm.
be. And you're able to kind of ease into that rather than just, kind of like you said, getting up and going and being really
Right.
like groggy and dragging through it and being miserable
Right.
then.
Yes, and like how I said, my oldest son is pretty emotional. That's something that I've struggled with is that he is just like immediately starts whining and crying, and that has been like the biggest thing that frustrates me and just
Yeah.
puts me in a bad mood. So like when I'm already up and ready, I'm able to like mentally have space for him to help him calm down, to help him see that I'm already happy, I'm already in a good mood, and that he doesn't need to be all fussy and whatnot, and that like we're here for each other. That helps too, just like being mentally prepared to like be a mama and take on their emotions and help them through their emotions.
Yeah. And there's so many factors that go into that. And, you have to be ready to tackle that and to face those
Mm-hmm.
challenges because if you're not, then it's going to make it harder for, your kids to face it. It's going to make it harder for you to face it. And it's a challenging time to begin with. Deployments are
Mm-hmm.
hard. TDYs are hard. Everything military life is hard to a certain extent. And so if you can show like, okay, no, like I still got up, I still, did what I needed to do. I'm still trying to find ways to be happy through this, then it definitely, it's kind of like the spreading the light. Like, you can
Right.
easily do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like I forgot to mention like a huge part of my journey as a military spouse is actually started like I come from a like not great upbringing. So I realized when I got older that I had probably suffered with anxiety and depression through my whole life. But like once I became a mama, like postpartum anxiety and depression was like super rough with me.
Yeah.
Um, and just that like obviously hormones and everything are all over the place when you're postpartum and whatnot. But just the stress of also like had my first baby, didn't give my body a chance to regulate my hormones before I had another one. Then my husband was going through pilot training, and so there's just like a lot of stress on me, just not having my family to help me. My in-laws aren't anywhere near us. My
Yeah.
husband's working long hours. I'm raising a baby while growing another baby, and that's like hurting my body because my first baby is just wanting to be all over me, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But then we have another baby while my husband is still in pilot training. And then just having to, again, do the long hours with now two babies under two, like postpartum anxiety and depression definitely hit me and was super, super stressful. And my boys weren't sleeping well. And it just like kept like compiling. It's just a snowball rolling down a hill. And it just like kept getting worse and worse. And
Yeah.
I was just like praying to God for a solution because I was like, what is wrong with my body? Like it was affecting my mental health and then it started affecting me physically. And like I was having so much pain throughout my body. I was having headaches every day. My big one was I was super irritable and I started getting like, I like to call it mom rage. It was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was just like yelling at my oldest like so easily. I would just snap at him, and like from the
Yeah.
upbringing that I had, I'm like, this is not okay. It's like I'm not going to let myself behave this way. I'm not going to let me take it out on my son. Like, he doesn't deserve that. And I was like praying to God for a natural like solution. And I was like trying all these different things, trying to work out, but I wasn't staying motivated to work out because I was literally so tired.
Right.
And I learned that my body had been in a state of like fight or flight and like chronic stress. So I like wasn't able to bring my cortisol down, and I was just super stressed, and it was affecting my body, it was affecting my mind. It was a lot. It got very overwhelming for a while.
Yeah. And it's so important to, to find ways to kind of help combat that. And like one thing that's huge is the military community, like being able to tap into that and the resources that are out there. Because,
Mm-hmm.
the hardest thing with military life is feeling alone and feeling
Yeah.
isolated, like you're the only one going through it. And, while someone might not be going through your exact situation that you are, there's other people out there going through something very similar, or who have gone through, a very similar
Mm-hmm.
situation. And so, taking that time to, one, prioritize yourself and your well being, but then also being like, okay, you know, I need to fix this. I need to, rely on, other things that are like, going to help me make a positive impact. And then,
Right.
the community is just so huge.
Right. Yeah, that was like my first time since moving here. Like, we really like got to experience like separating from our friends because we made such a great friend group where we were before for pilot training, and then we all just went all over the US.
Yeah.
And now like they're all gone, and like you say, like you're gonna stay in contact, and like you do a little bit, but it's not like what you'd hope for, and then you have to make a whole new friend group, and it
Right.
becomes super intimidating, and you're just like overwhelmed. And I feel like a lot of spouses, not a lot of them, but I have heard a lot of spouses like just say that there's other spouses that will start drama on the Facebook pages, or I don't know, going to like the social gatherings are like weird or whatnot. First of all, I have not had that experience. Like, I've went to spouse gatherings, and I think they're so fun, and that's where I have
Yes.
met some really good friends at, and highly recommend going to spouse gatherings. And if your
Yeah.
like your unit or whatever squadron doesn't have one, like put one together because they're so much fun.
Be that person.
Yes, yeah. So
Yeah.
I love like it is so hard like making new friends wherever you go. It is super lonely. It's super overwhelming. And I feel like that's something I've also really struggled with. And something that I've like tried to do with my Instagram page that I've connected with you through is just meeting, like, I feel like social media can be so toxic in some ways, that I've
Yeah.
been trying to make it where like we're literally bouncing around all the time, like leaving our friends behind. And if we can stay connected online, like it's just, I just want spouses to be able to like come and know that they're like seen and heard there, and that I want to like stay connected with you and be friends with you because I know how lonely it can be.
Yeah. And that's so key. And that's, that's what we need in this is, like you said, social media can be so toxic, but it is such a good tool for military families to
Mm-hmm.
leverage because it's so much
Yeah.
easier to stay in contact with people. It's so easy to make new friends. And,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, we were always raised of don't make friends over the internet, but I have made so many good friends over the
Yeah.
internet
Yeah.
that it's such a good tool that I think we all can benefit from.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I've met some really great women through Instagram lately, and it's been so fun to just like learn their stories, or even realize that some of them are like where I'm located or near
Yeah.
where I'm located. And like, that is so crazy. Like, just being able to like talk to them about kind of similar things in our area and stuff like that. Even like I've met some people that are overseas, and just like hearing their stories is just so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah. And, they might be in your area now, or they might not be in your area. They might be moving there, or you might
Hmm.
cross paths sometime in the future. So it's really nice to
Right.
have someone who's been to a duty station that you're good at, you're, getting stationed at, or somebody who's already there so they can be like your first friend, your tour guide,
Yeah.
welcome you in.
You know, it's really cool. Yeah, I completely agree with that. One of my friends I actually met where we just were for pilot training, she is from where I'm at now. And she was like, I'm going to like tell you about my best friend that's in that area. And so like,
Yes.
it was so nice to just like have an immediate friend because of her. It was super fun. And then she comes and visits her family all the time. So I still get to see her. And so that's been super, super cool because our sons are good friends too. So it's so sweet.
Yeah. And that's a great thing too with technology now, all together is that, everyone in the family can benefit from it. Like you'll be able to, depending on this, situations of every deployment, but you'll be able to keep in good contact with your husband and your kids will be able to, and then they're able to keep in contact with their friends as well, when they get older. And, it's just, it's great all around. Still toxic at some points, but it's great all around.
It's just on how you use it. It's just,
exactly.
It really is. And there's some of the people out there that don't show the bad stuff. They only show the good stuff. And then we're comparing and be like, oh, why isn't my life like theirs? And that's like what you shouldn't be doing. And that's another thing that I'm wanting to do is just like show that this military life is not easy in the slightest. And whether you're a military spouse or a civilian, like everybody's situation is hard. And I'm like just wanting to show tips and tricks on like how I get through it and be real and raw because nobody is perfect. Like I'm literally, my hair is slicked back and so I'm just a t-shirt. And this is what I do every single day. Like I'm not going to get all pretty just
exactly
on the social media.
Yeah. Well, where can listeners connect with you at?
So my Instagram is Lauryn. I spell my name a little bit differently. It's LAURYN_LaRocque, LAROCQUE. So I'd love to meet some new friends over there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what is one piece of advice that you would give to another military spouse?
Oh, I was trying to think of this through the whole podcast.
It's like the hardest question.
Yeah. So is it okay if I get it like really specific to someone's situation, like through pilot training? Okay.
Absolutely.
For something okay. So I feel like during pilot training, as a mama, I wish, even though it seems so hard to like get out of the house with the kids, and it's really intimidating, just do it because it's good for your mental health and it's good to get the kiddos out and just to get some fresh air. And then also, if you are a spouse that doesn't have kids, but has a friend who has children, reach out more than you think you are, because that was something that got really lonely. It's like I had great friends and I just wish they were there for me a little bit more because I felt like I was drowning and just like barely surviving. And I just wish that I would have had that community just slightly more. So just reach out more to any friends, honestly, whether they have children or not. Just reach out more to them because you really don't know what they're going through.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast and sharing about your journey as a military spouse and as a mom, and for all you're doing to support the military community as well.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you for listening to Grace of a Military Child and Life podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a like, follow, and comment. Also, be sure to check out Instagram and Facebook at Grace of a Military Child and Life for more awesome content. For information on the podcast, Military Child Bigs and Littles, GoAMCL blog, or other resources, visit www.goamcl.org. You can also email me at Gracie, that's GRACIE @GOAMCL.org with any questions or comments. To be a guest on the podcast, you can schedule it at www.goamcl.org/schedule a podcast, all one word, or contact me via social media or email. Stay tuned for the next episode where another incredible story is shared.